Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I'm Courtney. How the heck are ya? I've been doing a lot of podcasts in the morning lately. The majority of them have been in the morning, I feel like. It's getting cold at night. Usually if I do my podcast at night, it's a warm summer's evening. And now it's just cold. I mean, mornings are cold too, but dang, nights are getting chilly. So, and I've been taking care of some dogs in the country, so I've been doing a lot of podcasts out where you can hear the chickens, and unfortunately for you guys, you can also hear the dogs wrestling around and whining. For those of you that are scared of shepherds, let me just tell you, you should be, I guess, fearful of well-trained shepherds. If you're a bad guy, not if you're a good guy, of course, but shepherds that, I'm not talking about this shepherd specifically, I'm just saying shepherds in general, are very anxiety ridden because their brains have to be going. Their brains must have some type of job. They are a working dog. They're a working breed. So when they're not working, they're anxious and they pace and they whine and they're just looking for something to do. They're looking for someone to guide them. They're looking for someone to give them direction. And so, oh great, my nose is going to start going. Sorry, my nose was going crazy, but horses are the same way. Horses want you to be in charge. They're like, if you're not in charge, then what are we doing? They're like, all right, I'll just make my own decisions. And sometimes it's good and other times not so much. I mean, all of us are like that. Sometimes we make good decisions. Sometimes we make poor decisions. We know this. But we're all that way, leave us to our own devices without someone kind of guiding us or giving us maybe some advice. Or if we are parents or teachers or whatever, we have boundaries, we have rules. Everybody has rules we have to follow. We're supposed to go a certain speed limit. We're not allowed to steal. Although lately, if you are of a certain political belief or sexual orientation or race, you are allowed to do whatever you want and rules don't apply to you. You don't have consequences. You're allowed to do what you want. But the rest of us, we have rules. And dogs are the same way. They have to have animals, horses very much, and shepherds in particular, the herding and working dogs must have a purpose. They don't necessarily have to be, drug-sniffing dogs or herding cattle, but you need to be doing something to mentally challenge them, or they pace and they get anxious and they can't handle life. And so it cracks me up when people are scared of shepherds because I just think they're the biggest babies. They're awesome and I love them and they're smart, but man, they love their people. They love their human, which is awesome. But they're such pushovers. They really are. Unless, of course, they're well trained. Apollo, leave it. Go. Sorry, I got sidetracked. But shepherds to me crack me up. You have to have them. They need to have a purpose. And speaking of that, people need a purpose, right? We can't just be sitting around, laying around every single day. Of course, it's good to lay around sometimes and recharge, God, I'm always panting. I'm always panting so hard. I'm like, I walk all the time. You think I'd be in better shape than this, but Lord, my nose is running. Whew, dang. I know you guys probably don't mind the roosters and all that, but me panting? Sheesh. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a second so I'm not like panting this whole episode like I have been. Lord, you guys are going to think you tuned into some emphysema patients podcast. Anyway, we all need a purpose, taking care of yourself and having that time to recharge is one thing, but, you can't just spend your whole life doing nothing. I mean, you can, of course you can. That's an option. That's a choice. And if you want to make that choice, by golly, you frickin' do it. You do you. Like I always say, you do you, Scotty P. But otherwise, why take this life that you were given, even if you've had just a shit life? It's just been shit. And then you have this opportunity, you have this break to go, okay, I can like sit here and have a shit life, or I can just constantly get up and find some purpose. I got to keep moving. I got to keep walking. I've got to keep thinking. I've got to keep my mind mentally in shape. Because otherwise, what do you have? If you're not ever using that brain, if you're not using those limbs, you're not using that heart, what are you doing? Even if you live in the ugliest, shittiest slum, somehow find a way, leave it, somehow find a way to go out and walk. Even if it's just for a second, and find someone to talk to and say hi to. If that's all you can do, then that's something. Go find someone and say hi and try to make their day and communicate so that you've had contact with another being. Come on, let's go, Paul. Good, yes. Good, yes. If you're doing something just to get up and keep your mind engaged, and I don't mean engaged on the phone, Back in my day, I know people get sick of it, but honestly, the internet has its pros and cons. Of course, I use the internet. I'm currently using it, so I can't say that I don't like it because I have a podcast. So that'd be pretty freaking hypocritical. I've currently got a shepherd walking in between my legs. Hey! See, shepherds, they're genuinely babies. He keeps going between my legs because he wants me to protect him. I get it. But part of why the Dobie keeps wanting to play with him, he's playing, but part of why the Dobie gets mad is the shepherd just whines incessantly and is always just like, he's just a big baby. So unfortunately, the Dober looks at him like weak, and it's a whole thing. But most of the time, he's just wanting to play. The problem is Rocky doesn't want to play, and the Dobie doesn't take no for an answer. It's a whole thing. So anyway, we need to take lessons, though, and understand that, like, from a dog, if we are not like a dog, if we don't have mentally stimulating things to do, and we're going to be left to our own devices, dogs chew things when they're bored. They attack when they're not trained, when they don't have boundaries, when they don't have rules. They get massive anxiety when their brains are left to their own devices and they don't have, something mentally for them to do, or physically for them to do. And again, we could take a cue from that because we are the same. So I hope we all, I don't want to get dementia. I'm scared. I'm so scared. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to get dementia because I'm already showing signs. I know a lot of it's sleep. Excuse me, gosh. So sorry. I don't have a glass of water I can drink and my throat's all scratchy. Not in a sexy way. Not like Phoebe on Friends. But I just think it's important that every day you take a second to, do a word find, do a word search, go outside and walk even for 5 minutes, go find someone just to say hi to so that you've contacted another human being other than just being on your phone. Like, it's important. I don't like being around people, let me tell you. Not a fan. Again, I like people, but it's the whole introvert thing. Hey, Apollo, leave it. Apollo. You just gotta redirect your brain. Like, I just had to pause and redirect Apollo and snap his brain out of what he was doing and redirect him. I make him sit, I make him walk in a circle, I make him shake, I make him do things to snap his brain out of focusing on the other dog. And we need to do something to snap our brain out of focusing on being, I can't say focus on being depressed, because the whole point of depression is you know that you need to get up. You know that you need to be happy. And if you just get up, you'd be happy. Apollo, stop. Then it'd be fine. But it's easier said than done. And so, but if we can just make it a habit to make sure we mentally, that we stay mentally stimulated, that's important. Hey, Yikes. I keep getting sidetracked by dogs and then I don't know what I'm talking about. See, mentally. Yeah, anyway, got to keep our brain in the game, Got to do some brain exercises. And it's important to keep us on the positive and looking out for stuff. So that's that. And shifting gears, part of what a lot of people use to help feel better are crystals. Minerals, and people believe in the healing powers of different types of crystals. And I know a lot of people are like, hogwash, that can't be. What a bunch of voodoo, what a bunch of witchery. However, why would that be? The moon affects water and tides and minerals very much. That's why people will take different minerals to help our bodies. Minerals very much affect us. And I believe I've talked about this before, but people used to think I was being a real snob with water and how picky I was with water. And it had nothing to do with it being tap water or, the most expensive water in the world with gold in it. It wasn't that. I've told you guys this before, I believe, but long story short, when I was a kid, I don't think anyone else had this. I swear to God, they were like doing some kind of experiment on us, or they gave us LSD. I don't know what happened, but they were doing some type of thing because nobody else seems to remember this. Nobody from any other school. People from my school remember it because I'm still friends with people I went to grade school with. But people outside of my school that I went to, they were like, I don't remember that. So now I'm like, what the fuck did they do? So there was this little white tab, and I don't know what acid looks like. I've never done acid. I've never seen acid. I just know people that have. But it's this like little white tab. But they didn't tell us what it's for. They told us nothing about it other than to say, put it on your tongue. And we were in 3rd grade. And so we were like, okay. And I did. And I was like, oh, ew. Oh my God. It tasted so metallic. So insanely metallic. I could not stand it. I took it out and they were like, oh, okay. And then at the end of the day, all I remember of the conversation was that a very, very, very small percentage of people can taste that metallic taste. I don't remember what the percent was, to be honest. I was in 3rd grade. This was, I won't say how long ago, but I was like, and that's why they didn't tell us too, so that kids wouldn't be tricked into being like, oh, I taste it, so they didn't even tell us ahead of time anything. They told us nothing. They didn't say, tell me what you taste, tell me if you taste anything. They didn't say anything. They just said, put it on your tongue. I remember this because it was such a weird experience to me. Well, I have always, in water, I can very much taste any of the chemicals and or minerals that are in water. And a lot of things taste very metallic to me a lot. I've never had radiation, but people that have been on radiation describe a metallic taste after they've had radiation. I don't know if it's the same. I'm not sure. But it's weird. And so minerals, to me, my point to that is, I didn't just go off on a tangent or anything. My point to that was I feel like crystals do and can have healing powers. Maybe not to everybody. I feel they can. I feel like that, along with all natural things, are amazing. If you believe in a pill that's chemically made by people that seem to want to just profit off of you, I'm sorry, I don't trust a government that, with COVID, how that was handled. I don't trust a government that has purposely given people Agent Orange. That profits as much as they do. Because, again, you can cure cancer or at least lower cancer significantly without all of their crap, but then they wouldn't be making any money. And they care more about money than keeping us alive. So why not believe in crystals and stuff? Look at the side effects that these man-made, concocted crap, look at all the side effects. The side effects half the time are a million times worse than what you're taking it for. Like, it's, I know I've said this before, but it kills me that one of the side effects, one of the very, very first side effects, one of the most known side effects to half of the freaking antidepressants out there is suicide. is suicide. Now, I don't know what the percentage is of people that get it. Again, I'm not going to speak on something that I'm not educated on because I don't know the stats. I just know that if one of the first thing that you mention, and from speaking to people, and just knowing, I know that that's one of the biggest side effects. Now, say it's people are going to go, oh, well, it's only in, 5%, or it's only in 3%. It's still a bizarre side effect. And people are going to go, well, you have a greater chance of getting into a car accident than you do of having suicidal thoughts while on antidepressants. But I say, but you don't have to be on antidepressants. I'm not saying there's not such thing as depression. I'm not saying that there's anything against being on them. I'm just saying that with the side effects, and one of them being suicide, it's a pretty high risk when you could potentially take things that don't have all of those high risks. But if you want to take those, and maybe you've tried all natural stuff and it just didn't work for you, I get it. Again, you do use Scotty P. I'm not knocking people that take prescriptions. I'm just saying that the side effects can be bad. And sometimes things like crystals and certain minerals have been known to help people. And I don't think it's witchery. I mean, my goodness, the Chinese have been using herbs. It's herbs and plants have been going back since literally the earth began. And whatever you believe, whenever you believe that was, that's what we were using because we didn't have pills. We didn't have pills, so we used herbs. And you're going to be like, oh, well, people died. Yeah, but they died because, we didn't know how to cure meat or whatever. We didn't have a big immune system at the time for diseases that were brought in by other people or diseases that they caught and all that kind of stuff. I feel like, and plus we're not healthy now. I mean, my God, we're, at least here in America, not at all. So it's sad because people think of that stuff as just weird, you need to exercise. Yeah, you need to keep yourself mentally occupied. Yeah, you need to look at a human and talk to a human in the eyeballs once in a while. Yeah, you should get in touch with nature and have some minerals. And these chemicals that pharmacies and doctors are pushing, sure, they can have terrible, horrible side effects, but it's like, but what? I mean, okay, again, do your research. You know you better than anyone. And if after doing research, I'm just saying, try to educate yourself, try to do your research on things like crystals and things like meditation and yoga and acupuncture and going to the chiropractor and, breathing techniques and that kind of stuff, going on walks, listening to music, writing in a journal, crystals, all that stuff, different types of plants. Sometimes those things are better. But again, you do you. You know you, and after doing your research, or if you don't want to research it and you're like, fuck you, I've been doing this and it works, then fuck yeah. Don't listen to me. Who the fuck am I? Fuck me, Screw me. Don't listen to me. I'm just some chick. You don't even know me. You don't know me. You do you. Just throwing that out there. So, speaking of healthy and unhealthy, North Korea. Am I right? Kim Jong-un, that fat fuck, man, he's a piece of work. Now, here's the cool thing about America. You can be these crazy crazies who will put up a fake decapitated head of our president. They're allowed to do that. Not only allowed to do that, but they're allowed to post it all over social media. They're allowed for the news to post it everywhere. Not only that, but you're allowed to like it. You're allowed to find that appropriate. You're allowed to praise that, and you're allowed to promote that. Now let's pretend you're in North Korea. Let's close our eyes for a moment. Let's visualize that you are in North Korea or China. And let's say you decided to put up a fake decapitated head of Xi Jinping or Kim Jong-un. Or let's say you're in Russia and you decide, or let's say you're in the Middle East in like Iran, and you decide to put up a fake decapitated head, and then you decide to go on the internet and post all over how you basically wish the leader of your country to be unalived. And then on top of that, let's say a whole ton of people were like, yeah, decapitate our leader. And let's say, again, you did that in Iran. Again, close your eyes. Picture yourself in one of those countries. Pick one, anyone, wherever the wind blows. Plop yourself in China, North Korea, Russia, Iran. Even right now, probably the UK, you couldn't do that. You probably, you couldn't do that even in France right now. Who knows? And then let's say we all cheered and we promoted it. And we were like, yeah, and we were promoting that like they did with Trump. Now in America, nobody got in trouble. Sure, there were people that were against it and said, shame on you, shame on you. But they weren't killed. They weren't unalived. Nobody unalived them. The president, Trump himself, did not put them in prison, did not have them unalived, did not harm their family. But if you were in one of those other countries I mentioned, you would either be unalived and your family would probably be unalived. And if you weren't unalived, you would be in prison and probably tortured. But most likely unalived, and probably in a pretty brutal way. Yet here in America, you can do that. So again, in North Korea right now, Kim Jong-un has decided that he's going to treat them like they are Jews in a concentration camp. And meanwhile, people over here in the good old US of A, we've got people complaining over the most insane crap. Now, I've said 100 times, just because you have something going, and when you have something going on, just because there's something bigger, in another country, I almost just ate shit because the dogs. I've said 1,000 times, just because there's something bigger going on in the world doesn't mean you can't complain about things that are going on with you. But again, I also said, but if you're complaining about petty crap and making up things, here in America, you have to make up shit to complain about. And meanwhile, in China, in North Korea, in Russia, there's actually shit going on, In South America right now, like I know I have someone in South America listening to me, and I'm assuming you're not the person doing this, obviously. You're not the one. Again, I'm talking about people's government. Again, I'm talking about the leaders of these countries. I'm well aware that there are people in Iran and Russia. Like I said, I fucking think the Russian language and the German language, so hot. Sexy, love it. Want to learn it, trying to learn Russian, love it, think it's awesome. I'm not saying I've met a lot of people from Russia and Germany and different places of the world where their countries are ran terribly. Doesn't mean the people there are anything like that. But the people that support that kind of crap, not so good. And where was I going? The dogs got me. Oh, yeah. So imagine you're in one of those places and, you do have the right to complain if you have something going on, of course, even if there's something bigger in another country that's worse. However, when you're just making up things, when you are so bored that you have to make up crap, that's annoying to me because there are quite literally such bigger things going on in so many other countries. And that's why the white privilege thing drives me crazy, because you're privileged just being an American. If you were born in the United States, you're automatically more privileged than a lot of people in many other countries. That's why everybody wants to come here. And I'm all about, if you're genuinely seeking asylum, like right now, Christians from South Africa, that's what I was talking about too. South Africa, what the fuck is going on? Stop unaliving people. Like, what is wrong with you? Again, I'm not talking about, everybody in that country is not doing it, but what is going on? Like, I understand people seeking asylum if you're some white Christian in South Africa right now, because that's some bullshit. I understand if you're genuinely fleeing for your life and you just want asylum. I'm not saying that now all of a sudden you deserve all the perks and all the benefits and we should start paying for all your health care. But I'm saying maybe we could be like, here's a shelter for you, and we'll try to work something out. I don't know. We'll try to make you become a citizen soon. I don't know. I'm not saying that we can't have some kind of compassion for people that are genuinely, literally fleeing for their literal lives. But I don't think we should just have the border just wide open for any old yahoo. But point being, we sit here and we have the freedom here in America to do whatever. Hey, come on. No one wants to hear you whining in this podcast. Quit. Go. Come on. So we need to occupy our brains, is my point, with things that actually matter, and we need to take our lives and do something with it, because there are people in so many other countries that are genuinely not allowed to. They have to worship Kim Jong-un and look like every time they see him, they have to look like they are just in awe of him and think he is the greatest thing since peanut butter. And they have to cry and, just put on a scene so that he doesn't shoot them. So if we're so bored that we're having to make up stuff, can't we occupy our time? Can't we wake up in the morning and use that mental exercise and use that energy, for something other than making up stuff? Wouldn't it be good if we used our brains so that we could make up things to help others, to fix problems, to actually educate people, to try to help others? If we wake up every day and maybe socialize by being in a soup kitchen, by going out and trying to help people make a resume, by going to assisted living facilities and visiting with someone there who maybe doesn't have a family. Like, if you have so much time on your hand that you can sit there and complain about how Trump is no king and how Trump is a king and have a no kings protest, when you have the right in this country to have that protest to begin with, to show a decapitated head, again, close your eyes and visualize what would happen to you in a lot of countries if you did that. And not only were you allowed to do that, but you were allowed to post it on social media. People were allowed to promote it. People were allowed to praise it. It was all over, like CNN and all the liberal news stations. And that's allowed. If you did that in a lot of other countries, you would literally be unalived or in prison. So maybe we should get up and we should use our healing crystals or go on our walks and just not be like these working and herding dogs that are bored. Because as you can see, that's been him in the background, all anxiety ridden because I'm on the phone instead of paying attention to him right now. And he needs something to do and he's bored. And he's got another dog who's also bored, trying to pick on him because he's bored. And that's what we do with our time. We end up picking on each other when we're bored. We end up finding things that are not healthy for our brains because we're bored. You shouldn't be bored. Why is anyone ever bored? Why are you bored? My grandma used to be like that. You could never say you were bored around my grandparents because they would give you something to do. They were hardworking people. Again, that's not to say you're not allowed to... Apollo, leave it. Leave it, Paulo. It's not to say you can't have your time, but if you're so bored that you're making up things, if you're so bored that you're trying to find something to be angry about, again, these Trump derangement syndrome people, they just wake up every day just, must be angry, must find things to be angry, must use my brain for only bad, only to complain, only to be a hypocrite, not to soul search and do what I need to do to make myself a good person, not appreciate the country that I was privileged to be in. No, must be angry, must find bad, must be ticked and have my brain be constantly aggro and have my heart be, have high blood pressure and have anxiety and have depression and be unhealthy because I can't find something to occupy my time. Again, don't be like a working or hurting dog that has nothing but free time on their hands. They pace, they have anxiety. They need something, they need rules, they need boundaries, they need someone to guide them, or they're unhappy. I don't know. Got to find that happy, guys. Got to find that thing that, the roosters, there they go. Kardashians. I'm going to name them the Kardashians I'm going to name one Kim, one, I don't like picking on Chloe, but I don't know why I still like Chloe, but I do. So we're going to name one Courtney, one Kim, one Megan, one Kathy, one Karen. Although, again, I like a lot of Karens. Karens are nice people. I don't like Nancy's. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry. That's really rude. Oh, my gosh. There when everybody in Nancy is like, fuck you. I don't like Courtney's. Courtney is a stupid name. I don't like my name. I'm sorry. My name, I don't like it. All those people out there named Courtney, I'm sorry. I just don't care for my name. You can like your name. I want you to like your name. I hope you like your name. I personally don't. A lot of people don't like their own names. And there's nothing wrong with Nancy. I've met only probably 3 Nancys in my life, and I kid you not, they were really incredibly bizarre people. But that's okay. I'm sure that you're a Nancy and you're perfectly fine. And if you're bizarre, way to go. Way to be bizarre. Bizarre is not a bad thing. I like some people that are bizarre. It's just, anyway, I'm not going to delve too much into that. I'm sure no one really gives a shit if I like the name Nancy or not. Like I said, what's Courtney? But stop with your nonsense. Just get up and you do you and worry about you. It's too exhausting worrying what everybody else is doing and how everybody else should behave. Who are we to tell other people how to behave if we aren't perfect? And we're not, because no one is. We are not perfect because no one is. So until we're perfect, which again will be never, stop barking up everyone else's tree. Look at your own life and be like, how and what can I do? I've got this free time. My brain's idling like a shepherd. My brain's idling like a dog without knowing what to do. How can I help? So figure it out, That's what I'm saying. And one way you can help is by listening to my podcast and spreading it out to the rest of the world and having Apollo, come on. Apollo. I'm sure you guys love me constantly shouting out the dog names all the time and listening to Shepherd's Wine in the background. But maybe that'll be a subtle reminder to you that you don't want your brain to be that way. That is how these crazy people with the Trump derangement syndrome, that's how they sound. If you have Trump derangement syndrome and you're listening to this shepherd in the background whining and you're like, man, that's annoying, roll back at you. Exactly. Ding, ding, ding. It's annoying. Stop. There's so many annoying people in the world today. It's just frustrating. Can we just focus on us being a better person? And again, part of how you can do that is spread the word, to listen to the ramblings of an insomniac, right? Thank you so much for everybody that's doing just that. You guys rock my socks. I am incredibly grateful. I wish I could shout out to every single one. I wish I could say all of your names. I wish I could shake all of your hands and be like, high five. But I'm giving you a virtual high five and virtually giving you a hug. And if you don't like hugs, then I am, we'll do fist bump, whatever. But thank you. Thank you. Keep doing it. Shout it from the rooftops. Until next time.